Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Doom. My name is Camel, and today we will be taking a deep dive into the depths of hell and checking out all of the Easter eggs that I could find in 2016's Doom. Of course, brought to us by id Software. Now, I grew up playing the original Doom games. They were actually some of the very first gaming experiences I ever had. So, naturally, I have a strong love and nostalgia for the franchise. And somehow, Doom 2016 managed to hold up and fortify these feelings. With, of course, the assistance of thick, creamy Easter eggs, scattered amidst the demons and hellfire. Now, timestamps for each of the Easter eggs can be found down in the description, along with links to my other Easter egg videos and my social media. Be sure to check all of that out after we return from hell. So let's kick this off with a sugar and caffeine high. So while I was literally wading through trash in Doom, along with a bunch of crumpled up paper, I found these cans belonging to a refreshing brand of beverage called Caco Cola. The name is of course pulled from Coca-Cola, but Caco stands for Caco Demon in this case, as we can see with the logo, which is the retro art of the original Caco Demon enemy from the original Doom games. And while we're talking about the original Doom games, while we won't run through all of them on each level, there is a secret classic Doom room, but to enter them we must find the secret lever and pull it. Upon doing so, some old school Doom music will play, and this will also open the respective door to the secret classic Doom level. While it won't be the whole classic level, it's still cool to walk around in the classic graphics, get some ammo and experience some of the nostalgic flashbacks. Also, while we are in any of these classic level areas, if we manage to die in a manner that sees us gibbed, i.e. blown up into a million tiny pieces of meat, the Doomslayer's helmet will occasionally fall facing the camera. If this happens, inside the helmet, we can see the face of the original Doom guy evilly smiling back at us. The natural smiley reaction to having your head blown off. And it's also a face that we will see again in this video. And while we're in the realm of retro id Software, about halfway through the 6th level, Gear Sanctum, there is a path beneath a cliff which leads to a hidden cave. At the end of this cave, we can find a skull on top of a spike, wearing a helmet with Doom branded on the side. This is a reference to one of id Software's first game franchises, Commander Keen, and this would appear to be the skull of none other than Commander Keen himself. Also, the fact his head is on a spike is likely a nod to John Romero's head on a spike in Doom 2, which we will see later on in the video. John Romero being one of the fathers of id Software and Doom. But for Commander Keen, it looks like the only thing he's in command of is a serious headache. Now, there is a turquoise coloured book that we can find throughout the game in a few places. Most of the time we'll just walk past it and not notice it at all, but if we stop and take a look, we can read that it is the UAC Complete Guide to Snap Maps. Now, snap maps, besides being difficult to say, are of course a feature of Doom 2016 in which the player can build their own map. So of course this is fourth wall breaking and kind of funny that it's referencing a feature of the game within the game. But also in snap maps, if we go to the Hell props and then to Rock 11, we'll see the description says, "Finally, the Rock has come back to Hell." This is of course a reference to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who played the primary antagonist in 2006's Doom movie, which was a box office flop and we never saw a sequel. So finally The Rock has returned to hell with a literal rock, which is good because I absolutely love rocks and nothing, I just love rocks. Now on the multiplayer map level, Ritual, we can find a poster over in the corner. Reward, lost pet rabbit, Daisy. If found, please call 121-01993. Now it turns out that this is not a phone number at all. It's a date, 12/10/1993, or December 10th, 1993, which was the release date of the original Doom game. Now Daisy, the missing rabbit here, is referencing Doom Guy's pet rabbit Daisy from the original Doom series, who was decapitated and impaled by the Legions of Hell, whereupon the game says someone was gonna pay for what happened to Daisy, your pet rabbit, suggesting that the reason Doom Guy returned to Hell in episode 4 was to avenge his pet rabbit Daisy. So this poster is a cute little nod to that strange piece of Doom lore. Now at the end of the 9th level, Lazarus Labs, we can find Olivia Pearce's personal office. At the back of the room we can find a terminal with some suspended software on it, named Doom Demon Deconstruction, which appears to have been brought to us by the same guys that made Turbo Turkey Puncher 3, as seen with the faint watermark, which is something we'll see later on in the game. Best of all though, it's actually playable. Now, Doom Demon Deconstruction is a Connect 3 puzzle minigame in a demonic retro Doom style that, in my humble opinion, should have been released as a mobile app as well. I mean, who wouldn't download this? It's way cooler than playing Candy Crush. I'd much prefer to be playing Caco Crush. Now, once we finish our rounds, we'll be met by the highest score screen. Now, this is full of Easter eggs. Firstly, idmum_DJ is a reference to Donna Jackson, also known as idmum or Miss Donna, who was hired into id Software in 1992 as an office manager, and notably, as of 2019, is one of the longest lasting members of the company. Her score, 12/10/1993, is a reference to December 10th, 1993, which is the release date of the original Doom game. Next we have Olivia P, which is of course referencing Olivia Pearce, the main antagonist of the game, and the very woman whose office this is found in. Her score, 9/26/1983, is referencing the date September 26, 1983, the day video games nearly died, during the North American video game crash of 1983. The legendary event in question is known as the Atari video game burial, which took place in New Mexico. This was literally a mass burial of unsold Atari game cartridges, officially verified at over 700,000 cartridges buried that day. In 2014, it was excavated to reveal the hecatomb of titles, mostly comprised of E.T., which is commonly referred to as the worst game ever made. Now next we have K10UD. This is referencing the id Software dev Kevin Cloud, who was the Doom Snap Map lead producer on Doom 2016. His score, 5/13/2016, is of course the date May 13th, 2016, which was the release date of Doom 2016. Next we have RLG9000. This is referencing the id Software developer Roberto Garcia-Lago, or Lago, who was one of the producers of Doom 2016. And the 9000 on the end is of course a reference to the BFG 9000, whereas this guy's RLG 9000. His score, 2014-6/30, is a reverse non-American date, which would make it June 30th, 2014, which was Roberto's higher date at id Software. Next we have me. My score, 1,221,800, is referencing how many hours I put into researching, scripting, filming, and editing this video. It's nice of them to put that in there. Next we have RPADuffy, which is a reference to the id dev Pat Duffy, who has been an artist at id since Doom 2. His score, 8/3/2004, is referencing the date August 3rd, 2004, which was the release date of Doom 3. Next we have ShaleVomit, who has been confirmed as an id Software developer and will remain unnamed because I don't know their name. Their score is quite clearly 666 and then another 666, making it twice as evil, as 666 is the number of the beast and represents the devil and hell and what Doom is all about and blah blah blah, you get it. Finally we have Tenacious Diaz, which is referencing the id dev Mark Diaz, one of Doom's programmers, a helpful chap and the one responsible for this minigame existing. His score of 5/9/2014 is referencing the date May 9th, 2014, which turns out is not his higher date, but instead the date he graduated from Full Sail University and was then hired by id 18 days later on the 27th of May. And with big dick moves from Diaz like that, we conclude the deep lore of the Doom Demon Deconstruction minigame. Now on one of the terminals midway through the game, we can spot something pretty funny actually. Down the bottom we can see the login is that of DMMRN. This is shorthand for Doom Marine. If we take out all the vowels, we will get DMMRN. So it would seem that either Samuel Hayden or Vega created a login just for our character. Now inside Dr. Samuel Hayden's office, found on the 8th level Advanced Research Complex, on his desk we can find some old books with an ancient piece of paper which depicts the Doomslayer / Doom guy beating the crap out of demons, clearly highlighting that we are all part of some prophecy. Firstly, the artwork appears to resemble the original Doom box art. This image also appears to have been stylized off of the Ark of the Covenant woodcut illustration from Indiana Jones' Raiders of the Lost Ark. Not only this, but it also seems to have been based in both concept and image off of the page in the Necronomicon from The Evil Dead 3: The Army of Darkness, where this ancient book, the Necronomicon, has similar archaic pictures depicting Ash, a man from modern day, holding up a chainsaw in the ancient setting, much like how we see Doomguy / the Doomslayer on an ancient parchment, despite being a modern man with modern weaponry, although he does enjoy using his fists from time to time, as seen in the image. And while we're on the topic of the Evil Dead, throughout the game we can find a few assorted books, one of which is this one, Evil Cabin. An evil cabin lives in the woods, at night it's evil. Now while this may seem generic, it's actually a nod to the original Evil Dead movie, set in a cabin in the woods which takes place at night. And there's a whole lot of evil going on. Now the Evil Dead also had the main character Ash wielding a chainsaw and a shotgun, and this was actually the inspiration for adding the super shotgun and the chainsaw into the original Doom games, which of course are now absolutely iconic to the series. So thank you Ash, and also that fortifies that this is in fact a nod to the Evil Dead. At the very start of the game, a minute or so into this kind of tutorial intro section that isn't technically part of the first level, and the only way to get here is to start a new game, you know the part. Anyway, the first big room we enter with the first gore nest will have a big locked door at the back of it. As we approach this door before it opens, we'll get some time to take in the grand design of such a huge metal vault door like this. No doubt another engineering feat of the mighty company of the Doom universe, the Mixom, who make just about everything. But upon a closer inspection, we can in fact see that the Mixom logo has been bolted onto the door and has slid off, revealing the true architects of this vault-like door. Vault-Tec, accompanied by the Vault-Tec logo. Now Vault-Tec is of course the company that built all of the Fallout vaults in Bethesda Game Studios' Fallout franchise. Well, it turns out they even had time to jump into another franchise and make some stuff for Mars 2. Scattered throughout the levels, there are tons of various pieces of paper that we can find lying around on the ground, one of which, if we take a closer look, actually breaks the fourth wall. While remaining obscure, it reads, "Welcome to Doom. You are Doom. To doom or not to doom, speak of the devil." As far as I can tell, there are no hard references in there, but nonetheless it does break the fourth wall and references the game itself within the game. Throughout Doom, in the Hell-related levels, we will occasionally have to use one of these demonic teleportation pads. As we'll see, this is clearly a pentagram. However, it didn't used to be. In the original ports of Doom 2016, all of the green Hell teleportation pads looked like this, something quite different to what we see in later patched versions. This original shape is actually the transmutation circle for humans from Full Metal Alchemist. Why they were patched out is unknown, but if you watch any old playthroughs, you'll notice that all of the teleportation pads in Hell looked exactly like this, the human transmutation circle. Yet, in recent playthroughs, and if you play the game now, they have been patched with pentagrams. Whether this was originally an intentional reference, or if both franchises pulled from the same hermetic source material is unknown, but it's worth mentioning nonetheless, especially now that it's not in the game anymore. Now, working on Mars is hard yakka, and you don't always have time to make your own food, but as we'll see, all around the UAC bases, there are some pizza boxes for this chain called Gulami's Pizza. The mascot or face of Gulami's Pizza is presumably Gulami himself. I suppose he's now official Doom lore, but the face is actually that of Hugo Martin, the creative director of Doom. Whenever this guy comes on stage at a con, you know something good is coming, which is actually the very opposite of this pizza brand, as we can actually find some notice papers scattered throughout the game explaining that Gulami's Pizza has been shut down due to customer organ rotting. Now, it sounds like most pizza chains around here, to be honest, but while we're on the topping of Hugo Martin, towards the end of the game on level 12 Vega Central Processing, we can find a unique poster. Martin Pet Groomers, fantastic pet-style cuts. So cheap, so fresh, so style. Call today and make an appointment. Dial 004-#pet, located next to Gulami's in Olympia, Station South. Check WebZone, Martin Pets at WebZone. So sadly, there doesn't actually seem to be any in-jokes with this, and apparently it's just artists having some fun, but the ridiculous nature of the poster, a pet groomers on Mars, referencing it's next to Gulami's, Hugo Martin's pizza brand, and the fact that it's also Martin's pet grooming, is obvious that the artists are having some kind of laugh with their superior Hugo Martin. On many of the terminals found throughout the game, we can see this, and sadly what we want is sideways. So we'll have to flip it 90 degrees here, where we can see the words Crash Override are written. Now this is a reference to the 1995 movie Hacker. As you can imagine, it's a movie about hackers, and the main character's alias is nothing other than Crash Override. So perhaps he's the one ruining all the computer systems on Mars. Now on level 10, there is a false wall that we can actually jump up through to access a secret area. Around the corner at the end of the short hallway, we can find an interesting sight indeed. A dude wearing a party hat who has been strung up with some kind of occult book in his lap. On the ground is an ocean-themed birthday cake for some reason, that amazingly, despite being completely themed on the sea, does not have a Dopefish on it. And above this birthday cake, we can find a big happy birthday balloon. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Okay, so if we shoot the balloon, this happens.
Yay!
We hear a bunch of children cheering, yay! However, if we shoot the balloon on either the 30th of September or the 10th of December, we'll hear this. Now the reason we get booed on these two dates is because Doom's birthday or release date is the 10th of December and Doom 2's birthday or release date is the 30th of September. The two dates we get booed on when we shoot the balloon. Now I did try this on the 3rd of August, which is Doom 3's birthday, but I got the standard cheer instead of the booing. Looks like the demon children didn't fancy Doom 3. Now while we didn't find a Dopefish on the sea-themed birthday cake, and you probably don't even know what Dopefish is, don't worry, there's plenty of Dopefish coming up. And what is Dopefish? Well, Dopefish is an enemy from one of id Software's first games, Commander Keen, in Goodbye Galaxy. Specifically the Secret of the Oracle chapter, which is considered the 4th episode in the Commander Keen series. Anyway, Dopefish was first in that, and for some reason it's become an inside joke in the gaming industry and can be found as an Easter egg tucked away in many more games than one may suspect. Doom 2016 is most certainly no exception to this. Firstly, on the Foundry level, in the staff locker room, inside an open locker, we can see a very large and clear outline of Dopefish, drawn in chalk at the back. Inside various drink vending machines throughout the game, we can find this beverage called Grima or Grima. The brand logo is very clearly a little yellow Dopefish. Scattered around the place, we can also find these noodle boxes, Dopechan Noodles. Again, our fishy, dopey friend is the frontman for the brand. Around the place, we can also find these little red boxes, a packet of potato crisps called Grangles. As you can see, the mascot for the brand is a little Dopefish. Beyond this though, Grangles here is a nod to the real-life Pringles. You know those bastards you can't stop after you pop? Not only that, but the Dopefish on the box mimics the features of the Pringles mascot, known as Julius Pringles, the round-headed fellow with a moustache and bow tie. But it does not stop there, oh no. There is a brand of low-fat chocolate-flavored milk or a protein shake or something of the sort called Mudbutt. I mean, a chocolate-flavored brown liquid drink called Mudbutt? That's pretty funny. And surely I don't need to explain why. So I won't, it's diarrhea. But on the back of the bottle, there is a super low detail outline of a Dopefish, the mascot of having a mud butt. But luckily, there are plenty of other refreshing drinks to quench our thirst on Mars, such as Dr. Bubbles, which is a clear nod to Dr. Pepper, being similar in name, liquid color, and labeling color theme. On the back of Dr. Bubbles is also a very small little Dopefish outline, one of the harder ones to make out, but it's there nonetheless. And if Dr. Bubbles isn't what you're into, there's always Diet Grulp. On the back of the can, we can find a very clear and detailed outline of Dopefish, which is a fittingly refreshing change for my eyes compared to these lower resolution ones. And on the back of the Diet Grulp bottles, we can also find a Dopefish outline, though this one has much less graphical fidelity. Now, if we want to relax a bit more and not drink soft drink, there is another beverage for us. Grud Light Beer, obviously mimicking the real-life Bud Light beer, not only in name but also in packaging and color and all this. Now on the back of the Grud Light, you won't believe it, but it's a Dopefish, and thankfully this little fella is the last of the Dopefish on the food items. Trust me, I checked them all. But it's not the end of the Dopefish, as we can find a few of these duffel bags scattered around the game, and on the circular face we'll see a similar low detail outline of our beloved Dopefish. And there is one more that I'm actually unsure of, but in the levels set in Hell we can find these giant stone murals around the place. It's all pretty monotone in colour and nothing really stands out, except for a suspicious, bright and highlighted outline around the nose area of the demon depicted. And if we really think about it, this demon's nose looks like a Dopefish outline. I don't know if it actually is one, but the similarities are definitely worth noting, and it's suspicious that the shape that looks kind of like a Dopefish is the only part that's highlighted much brighter than the rest of the mural. So let me know what you think about this one, because I'm on the fence. But while we are on the topic of these murals, if we take a look over in the top right hand corner, we will see a Doom guy looking guy holding a cube and destroying demons before him. This item is the Soul Cube, a weapon used in Doom 3 to obliterate the legions of hell. This mural is likely a prophecy foreshadowing the event of Doom 3, where we actually get to use it as a weapon. And while we're on the topic of the Soul Cube, on level 9, Lazarus Labs, inside Olivia Pearce's office over in the corner, we'll spot something familiar, the very same Soul Cube we were just talking about. Sadly, despite being the most powerful weapon in the game of Doom 3, here in Doom 2016 we are unable to interact with it. It's just here as a little nod and tease to all of the Doom 3 players, clicking furiously on it, trying to pick it up. Now on level 9 Lazarus Labs we can find the legendary Helix Stone. Earlier on in the level, on a terminal, we will see the ID number of the Helix Stone is IDDQD. While it might seem random, this is actually the God Mode cheat code for the original Doom game, and when you are in that mode you are of course pretty much God and cannot be harmed. On level 11, the Necropolis, right before the end of the mission, we will come out into this huge open area of hell, showing off the awesome art direction of Doom 2016 in a full hellish fashion. There is one centerpiece of this all though, which will catch the eye of all and rile up nostalgic fires in the hearts of retro gamers. The ironically iconic Icon of Sin, which was the final boss in Doom 2 Hell on Earth, in which we had to shoot it through its opening into its brain to kill it. And if we look at the Icon of Sin here in Doom 2016, we'll see that there is the same opening. And if we are curious enough to shoot something into its brain, this will happen. The original retro spawn cube will be fired from its head with the original sound effect too. Once this reaches the ground, it will leave the collectible Doom Guy figure, Hazmat Guy, a much better reward compared to the enemies it would spawn in Doom 2. Sadly, John Romero's head is not contained within the Icon of Sin's brain, although as promised we will see his head on a spike in this video, just not yet. Now when we enter this room and speak to Dr. Samuel Hayden via the monitor, over on the screen to the left there will be a list of all of the casualties resulting from the demon invasion. Despite one of them being Sean Bean, this is not a Sean Bean joke about him always dying. Every single name on this list actually belongs to the id Software devs that made Doom 2016, one of which just happens to be a guy named Sean Bean. And if you do have the will or need, you can check every single name on this list against the game credits and they will all match up. But hopefully, despite being harvested by demons, the guys over at id can still make some more games from hell. On the multiplayer map Helix, we can find a dead purple imp. Now this imp has a strange skin color that we don't see anywhere else in the game. Interestingly, this purple imp is actually the original imp model from the Doom demonstration at 2015's E3. For some reason, the purple imps were replaced with the orange imps that we see in game now. Now if we follow the blood trail, we can find 6 pods. 5 of them have the same purple imps, and the 6th is empty. Of course, from where this one escaped and dragged its bloodied self to this spot. Looks like it just couldn't crawl far enough to make it into the final game. Now, whenever there is a terminal which we must play an echo through, we'll see there is a mention of presumably the Central Security Officer of ZSEC, Keon J. Now, this name is actually a reference to the id Software developer Jerry Keon, who was the mission director of Doom. Not only this, but what he is the head of, the security in Doom, ZSEC, is actually a reference to an enemy in Doom 3, the Zombie Security, whose name was shortened to ZSEC. So there's a sneaky nod there too. On a few of the levels, we will hear the UAC spokesperson say this.
Have you filled out your UAC accidental death and dismemberment form yet? See Jessica in Human Resources for assistance.
Jessica in Human Resources is actually a reference to Jessica Harris, who is id Software's Human Resources Manager in real life. Now, the name of level 6, Katangir Sanctum, is likely a sneaky reference to the Sumerian name of the city of Babylon, Kardingir Raki, meaning the Gate of God. Now, if we take a look at the side of the pistol, we can see that it says LFG Mark II. LFG is a nod to the BFG, which stands for Big Effing Gun. So LFG would stand for Little Effing Gun, which it is. It's the pistol. And on a similar note, if we take a look at the model of the Gauss cannon, we can see in a very fine print here, it says, "Try not to die while firing this beast." A neat little secret tucked away for few to find. And again, in a similar fashion, if we find some of these heavy-duty drills around the map, we can actually find something pretty funny on the side here. It will hurt the whole time you are dying. It looks like there was more text above this, but unfortunately it never made it into the viewable surface of the model. But again, it's just a goofy line for few to see and chuckle at. Ah yes, now the soundtrack of Doom 2016 won Game Soundtrack of the Year. The reason for this being the music is beast as. Not only this, but the music actually holds some Easter eggs of their own, and for these first 3, we'll need to analyze certain tracks through a spectrogram. Firstly, the track Cyber Demon in the middle, when inspected through a spectrogram, we can see inverted pentagrams and the number 666. Of course, both symbolize the devil in modern culture, and also at the end of this track, we can see the face of Doom Guy from the original Doom games hidden away. Now at the end of the track Skull Hacker, we can find this shape over and over again. This is actually the impaled head of John Romero from inside the brain of the Icon of Sin, the final boss of Doom 2 Hell on Earth. So, as promised, we've seen John Romero's head on a spike. And in the track Authorization Olivia Pearce, we can find the number 36. The reason for 36 is because if we add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35, and 36 together, we end up with nothing other than 666, the number of the beast. So 36 is a reference to that without actually being 666. Now also found in this track, Authorization Olivia Pearce, if we increase the speed of the song by 6 times, and then increase the pitch of the song by 6 half steps, we can hear this.
You could not have saved them anyway.
Olivia Pearce saying you couldn't save them anyway. And finally, on the final track for Doom, there is a drone noise in the track. That has this very strange kind of phase out in the middle of it. Now, if we make this section of the drone noise into a mono track and reverse it, we can hear this. Someone saying Jesus loves you. Now this Easter egg and all of the Easter eggs in the music were implemented by Mick Gordon, the composer of Doom's soundtrack, as jokes that he thought no one would find and are pretty funny. Now while you could say that most things in Doom 2016 are reimaginings of old original Doom assets and ideas, there are a few rare ones that really make you smirk and get a wave of nostalgia, such as the hanging Baron of Hell gutted and strung up on the wall, or the beating heart on the altar. the pile of candles and skulls, and of course the original and iconic Doom doors. They're all kind of the thing you walk past and double take or don't even notice at all, but when you do notice them you go, oh, I see what you did. Now on level 3 Foundry, we can find the plasma rifle carrier box. On the side of it, there are the initials BZ. This appears to be a nod to BZ Plasma, who was a Twitch streamer and self-proclaimed best Doom streamer. So his initials BZ end up on the side of the plasma rifle box, so BZ Plasma. Now the quad damage sphere is based on the power-up of the same name seen in the Quake series, also developed by id Software of course. In addition to this, the noise heard when the player fires their weapon while under the effects of quad damage is the same noise heard when the player picks up the power-up in Quake. Now the Doomslayer's Praetor suit appears to have been modelled somewhat off of the armour and helmet worn by Crash in Quake 3 Arena. While this may be pure coincidence, the armour looks similar and has an almost matching colour scheme, and the helmet looks even more similar still. I'm not sure if this was intentional, but it's worth mentioning nonetheless, especially considering that Quake 3 is another of id Software's games. Now right at the beginning of level 8 Advanced Research Complex, right after getting off of the train, if we enter the female bathroom and look up, we'll see an open hatch. If we jump up and crawl through the secret passageway and drop down into the staff locker room, we can find something really cool over near the dartboard. On the right side, while it is covered in blood, we have a poster which shows the box art for the original Doom released in 1993. And on the left hand side we have a poster which shows the Quake 1 logo. Also in this same room, over on the inside of one of the locker doors, we can find this same Quake poster minus all of the blood and contamination. But this one's wider for some reason, so we got a thick boy here, which of course makes it better. Now on level 12, Vega's Central Processing, there is a room filled with big pylons for cooling Vega's cores. But if we look for a minute at the assembly of the glowing blue pipes, we will see that it looks exactly like Quake 3's logo. Whether this is a coincidence or a subtle design for few to notice, I really can't say, but it is worth pointing out nonetheless. Now on level 9 Lazarus Labs, we can find a computer screen in this surgical room. It's rather hard to read thanks to a bright light directly across from it, but we can see that it is the Sabbath Moon Sacrifice Possession Report. And we'll also notice a long list of names, all accompanied by nicknames, which is odd. The reason for this is all the names shown are actually the names of QuakeCon volunteers from throughout the previous years. So that's actually pretty cool, subtle, and entirely morbid acknowledgement from id Software and Bethesda and whoever runs QuakeCon. Now on the second level, Resource Operations, we can re-enter the facility through the airlock chamber. We'll find an array of knickknacks and power tools and bits and pieces, but there is one unique item in here, this water bottle. Wellspring water, 86% contaminant free, not responsible for hair loss, impotency, or mutation. Please drink responsibly. This is a reference to one of id Software's other franchises, Rage, where the main town is Wellspring, where they pump water. Now you may know Wellspring better from Rage 2, but of course in 2016 at Doom's release, Rage 2 was 3 years off. So we are seeing a reference to the OG Wellspring from 2011's Rage. Now Dr. Samuel Hayden, the grey character of the story, may have something more going on. While it may be a coincidence, the mysterious nature of his quote-unquote accident that gave Samuel cancer and his persistent reminders that humanity needs hell to survive suggests the possibility that he was never entirely human or has motives that did not lie with humanity. His name also appears to be hiding something. Samuel, meaning name of God, or God has heard, and Hayden, one derivation of which is from Old High German, Heiden meaning heathen. So perhaps he's the name of a heathen god. The heathen god has heard the name of God is heathen, or God has heard the heathen. Take your pick. Also, Dr. Samuel Hayden is a collection of 3 words, each of which consist of 6 letters, forming the number of the beast, 666. It's also worth noting that a combination of his first initial S and his last name Hayden is S. Hayden, and when said together, we get Satan, which sounds of course like Satan, but you make up your mind there. Nonetheless, he's a suspicious chap. Now all throughout the game, hidden in secret areas, there are collectible Doom Guy toys, a fair few of which have themed references, such as Classic Guy, who resembles the classic Doom Guy, with the exposed abdomen and all. Vault Guy, who resembles Vault Boy from Bethesda Game Studios' Fallout series. Rage Guy, who resembles an authority enforcer from id Software's game Rage. Phobos Guy, who resembles Phobos from Quake 3 Arena in the Praetor style. Pinky, who is bright pink and named after the classic Doom enemy, the Pinky Demon. Elite Guy, who resembles a UAC elite guard better known as the Dead Blokes in red armor. Keen Guy, who resembles Commander Keen from Commander Keen. Hazmat Guy, who resembles a biosuit zombie from Doom 3 Resurrection of Evil. And finally, Quake Guy, who resembles Ranger from the Quake series. Now, if a Caco demon is killed with nothing but shots to the eye, it will start this animation in which it starts firing randomly before exploding. This appears to be a sneaky reference to a bug in the original Doom version 1.1, in which you can make Caco demons and other enemies kill themselves, essentially self-destructing, like we see here. Now during level 6, Katangir Sanctum, just after fighting through 4 Barons of Hell, in this very same area we can find a cave that leads into the side of the mountain. In here, at the back of the room, leaning against a stone pillar, is a shriveled and mummified corpse, which will straight away look familiar. Firstly, he is wearing the iron helmet from the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, popularized and marketed as the recognizable Dragonborn helmet. But along with this, he has an arrow in his knee, of course making reference to the now meme dialogue line said by the various hold guards of Skyrim. I used to be an adventurer like you, then I took an arrow in the knee, which apparently means getting married, but this is a very literal arrow in the knee, although how the Dragonborn got out here, I don't know, maybe hell is one of the planes of oblivion. Now, as we've mentioned a few times, we can find many pieces of paper lying around, scattered all throughout the levels of the UAC Mars bases. There is one though, which is a first sightings report of the demon and enemy we fight throughout the game, the Revenant. It reads as, "This is a super scary thing. It is identified as something too spooky for me. Why for the love of God does this thing have missile launchers on its shoulders, as if it weren't enough, this thing being the damned boogeyman. If you happen to encounter this abomination, either run for your life or kill it with fire or maybe some big gun." The last line is a cheeky nod to the BFG referencing some big gun, but the reason we're looking at this thing is the picture down in the bottom right. You'll recognize as the dancing pumpkin-headed dude from the Spooky Skeletons meme, just reinforcing how truly spooky the Revenant is. Now remember earlier we were talking about the ancient piece of paper that shows either the Doom Guy or the Doomslayer being part of some prophecy destroying demons? Well, along these same lines, at the start of the final level, Ardent Dunur, we can actually find a huge statue of the Doomslayer, an ancient statue of the Doomslayer, mimicking the model of our character, again fortifying that we are in fact part of some ancient prophecy. Either that or it's a statue of Master Chief. Now on level 8, Advanced Research Complex, right near the start of the level, there is a room filled with the UAC's employees and their achievements. One of the employees listed is one smiley chap named Steven Seraphin. He is listed as the head of product demonstration. Now Steven Seraphin actually worked for id Software, but sadly passed during Doom's development. Steven demoed Doom in 2014 at QuakeCon. This is likely why he is listed here as the head of product demonstration. In the credits of the game, the player can also notice the name of Steven Seraphin marked as technical producer, with a kneeling translucent marine next to him in honor of Steven. At the end of the full credits, we can also see a dedication to him in loving memory of our friend and teammate Steven Seraphin. So may you rest in peace, Steven. It's one hell of a game you helped build, so thank you. Now in this same room that we found Steven, we can also find a bunch of names on smaller plaques. These are the names of other id Software developers that worked on Doom 2016, as we can see with Kevin Cloud and Pat Duffy, just to show you some that we're already familiar with. And above all of these plaques, there is actually a huge monitor that says, "All hail the Dark Lord," which does not appear to be official UAC marketing, but it's there nonetheless and is of course referencing the devil. Now on this same level advanced research complex, after leaving Samuel Hayden's office and passing a bunch of old artifacts, we head outside, but before continuing, there is a room that we can access via an airlock. In here, we can find various relics and artifacts taken from the dig site 3 from Doom 3. Now while this is super interesting, we'll be able to hear some weird music playing, and if we get curious enough, we'll have a poke around. And at the back of this huge pile of crates, we can find a working version of the Super Turbo Turkey Puncher 3 arcade machine. This is an arcade game where in retro Doom art style, we literally punch turkeys to death. It was first seen in Doom 3, and there was even an achievement for getting a score of 25,000. Sadly, that is not present in Doom 2016. Now, Super Turbo Turkey Puncher 3 is also based off the real-life game Street Fighter Alpha 3 by Capcom, as we can see with the title art and font. And the company that made Super Turbo Turkey Puncher 3 in Doom is called Nabcon, again referencing Capcom. But I think it's safe to say that Super Turbo Turkey Puncher 3 is in fact the superior game. Actually, no game can compete with it. Now on level 3 Foundry, in one of the computer rooms, we can find a screen which references the mining station of Tay Tenga, which while being a canon location and seen on screens in the original Doom games, Tay Tenga was actually meant to be the original setting for episodes 1 and 3 in Tom Hall's Doom Bible, which was the original source and concept document written for Doom in 1992. So while Tay Tenga was scrapped as the setting, it has been subtly re-injected into the canon. Now on level 3 Foundry, there is a massive pit of molten rock or molten metal, or something that we could lazily call lava for the simplicity of this video. Now if we fall into it, or in the case of filming this video, intentionally jump into the lava, we will die. But as we sink into the glowing pool, Doomslayer's hand will curl up into a thumbs up. This hand action is a reference to the end of 1991's film Terminator 2 Judgment Day, at the end of which the reprogrammed T-800 Model 101 Terminator destroys himself by lowering into a giant vat of molten, indescript liquid that we'll again call lava. The last shot we see of him is his raised arm and his fingers curl up into a thumbs up, just as we see here in Doom. And on a similar note, on level 4, Argent Facility, in the room with the cryo tubes, the floor is covered in a layer of this super cooled substance. If we jump down into it, the Doomslayer will freeze and shatter into pieces. This death animation is once again a reference to Terminator 2 Judgment Day, specifically to the scene in which the T-1000 is covered in liquid nitrogen, freezes, and shatters into pieces. Although Doomslayer does not have the fortune of melting back together. Now when we go to flick the switch and turn Vega off, Vega being the most powerful AI computer in existence, we have to go up this diagonal elevator shaft. Now I don't know if it's pure coincidence, but at the end of id Software's 2011 game Rage, when we go to flick the switch on a supercomputer, we travel up this diagonal elevator shaft too, with similar color schemes and designs at similar points in each game when we're going to do similar things. It could be pure coincidence, it could be a cheeky nod, or it could be the fact that the two games had a bunch of the same artists. Who knows, but it is worth noting. But what I do know is, once we get to Vega, any retro gamers might feel a wave of nostalgia looking at Vega's core, as it bears a great resemblance to the Mother Brain from the Metroid games. Vega and Mother Brain are both super intelligent artificial intelligences, sharing more than just their incredibly similar appearance. And while we're on the topic of Vega, on terminals throughout the game, we can see this script come up on screen. These are phrases from the real-life 1985 programming language Emacs Lisp. So it looks like someone is attempting to run this simple text editor on Vega, the most powerful AI computer in existence. And the penultimate line also reads spawn item shell file name. Spawn item is a common console command in games to do just that, spawn an item. Although they are trying to spawn the shell file name, so it's all very meta and deep. And to end Vega, and I suppose the video, on an awesome note, when we actually shut down Vega, there are a few frames we'll need to take a closer look at. Right here, when Doomslayer's hand is on the console, if we take a peek behind the Doomslayer's hand, we will actually see the evil smiling face of the Doom guy from the original Doom games. Fitting considering we are shutting down a supercomputer and being a badass in general. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I've been Camel, and this has been my Easter egg video for 2016's Doom. I do hope you thoroughly enjoyed it and learned something new about this awesome, hellish game. I'd like to give a quick thank you to everyone on Twitter that helped me figure out a bunch of these Easter eggs. I really appreciate that. And if you do know anyone who you think would like this kind of content, be sure to share it with them. Please leave a like, leave a comment, and if you'd like to see more of these types of videos, please subscribe. It helps me know that people are interested in these kind of videos and will result in more of them in the long run. My other Easter egg video links can be found down in the description, and down there in the old description you can also find links to all of my social media. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and if you would like to support the channel in a more personal way, you can become a heroic patron on Patreon or a sponsor of the channel right here on YouTube. As I'm sure you know, all of my time and energy goes into making these videos that I create for you to enjoy, so your support is most appreciated and welcomed in any and all forms. So feel free to check out the playlist on screen. Thank you very much for watching, thank you for supporting the channel, and I'll see you very shortly in the next video. I'll see you there soon.